be seated. We're going to commence with tributes to Claire. So I'm just going to ask the people who are coming up today, one by one, if they can. We have Tyron first, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I just wanted to say a few words about our beautiful Claire. I wanted to only tell a few funny stories, as that's how I'm sure we all, as well as I, remember her. My fondest adult memories of Claire stemmed from Lambert Road about 15 years ago. As I'm sure some of you may remember, the Hodson's home was always a home where everybody was welcome, where everybody was expected to spend a fair amount of their time. And please believe me, they did. Everybody took full advantage. On Friday nights from around 6 p.m., the doorbell would be a constant ping. The reason for that is that half of Durban had in fact arrived for pre-night Friday drinks. The reason this was a time that I remember fondly about Claire is because it's a time where she was in her element. Surrounded by her friends, she was an absolute party starter, a warm, welcoming, fun, kind, caring, and beautiful woman. I know these were some of her best years. I spoke to Claire about these times a few weeks back. She mentioned so fondly many of the faces in this room and how much fun she had during that period of her life. My second best memories of Claire is the year Claire lived with Natalie and I in Johannesburg. It had been a very difficult year for us, as it was the year that my father had passed away. And I can honestly tell you that all of her strength and her amazing and contagious laugh got me through. A sound I'm sure none of us will ever forget is that laugh. It was the definition of contagious. It would always bring a smile to anyone's face, irrespective of how bad their day or week or month had been. Anyone who knew Claire well will never forget that sound. Anyone who knew Claire very well will never forget a couple of characteristic things she used to do, like the 11-minute toothbrushing sessions, the 3.5 hours it took her to get ready. Irrespective of whether you told her or lied to her about the time, I guarantee you she would have been late. Whilst we lived in different provinces, we shared every event. Holidays as children, 18th, 21st, weddings, 30th, 60th. Claire made each one of those memories more beautiful, and the events going forward, I can assure you, will be less special without her there. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we will miss your beautiful smile and loving nature. Claire, you're a superstar. We're all blessed to have had you in our life, be it for a short or long time. What happened to you is just so unjust. We can only hope that what happened to you was a part of a bigger plan that in some way made sense. Until we meet again, my beautiful cousin.
Jacques.
I never envisaged standing here before Claire's friends and people that she cared about, and that this will be the first time that I speak. I always envisaged that it would have been under better circumstances. I know everyone followed Claire, and especially the last few months via the posts, but I think what's important for me is to try and depict Claire's character. And the only way that I think I can somehow, in an unorthodox way, get justification to that is in the form of an anecdote. Claire and I met about 2 weeks after her mother passed away. Claire came over the following day and we had a braai. After the braai, we ended up watching a documentary. This documentary was about lions, in particular one lion. And strangely enough, this documentary is something that we followed through her fight through cancer. This lion was unlike any other lion. This lion was the best a lion could be, very much like Claire. Claire had grace, she was loving, thoughtful, and she had passion for life. This lion, similar to Claire, didn't make it to what we term as a full life cycle. Nevertheless, there were numerous prides of lion, and ultimately only this lion was the epicenter of this documentary. This is an instance whereby it's quite clear that it doesn't necessarily mean that you live 80 years, that you've lived a full life. Claire, in her 36 years, lived a life that most people wouldn't achieve in 80 years. Much like Claire, this lion faced a battle. This battle was with 5 other lions. It was a battle that this lion should never win. This is similar to the cancer that Claire got. The type of cancer, melanoma. This lion spent that afternoon through the evening fighting these 5 lions over. Ultimately, this lion's back was broken. Very much like with Claire, this lion stood strong and never at any stage until this lion's last breath gave in. What happened with Claire is that her cancer found a pathway where there was no treatment for. Nevertheless, I was with Claire until her last breath, and throughout this process, Claire's mind had never faltered. She was always in it. Her heart was always fighting. She had the spirit of a great heart. The only thing that let her down was a vessel that carried her, and that was her body. Much like that lion, that's exactly what happened. Her body let her down. She never, ever gave in. This road that I've walked with Claire, and I've spoken to numerous people who have appreciated and even thanked me for walking this road with Claire. For me, it was more of a situation whereby it was an honor to walk with someone like Claire. A person, a human being like none other. She was a proper human. And this whole process with Claire was something I'll never forget. It was something that had changed me forever. Shortly after this process, this documentary, Claire and I ended up going to Hong Kong together, separately. And I'll never forget my friend, my best friend who I grew up with. He spent 20 minutes with Claire. And much of you who are sitting here will know how Claire is. You spend 5 minutes with her, you feel like you've known her for months or years. He spent 15, 20 minutes with me, with Claire, and he came to me and he said to me, he said, "You don't deserve her." He said, "If you don't end up with her, there's something wrong with you. You're mad." I didn't take his advice, but ultimately, it's true, and we did end up together. Claire was someone who was caring and giving. And I'll never forget, throughout this process, whether we're in hospital or we're at home, she always used to ask me, "How are you? Are you okay? How's work? Are you okay with this whole process?" And I'd look at her and I'd think to myself, how can you be asking me, how am I doing? You're fighting for inches. We used to often leave the hospital and Claire was obviously not in a good state. We used to drive down, and no matter who came to the window, any beggar, she always used to give him the time, looking him in the eye. And I can't tell you how many times 100 or 200 notes would be handed to them. I often thought to myself, and I actually one day asked her, and she said to me, my mother always said, that we have more and they have less. She made this world a better place. Claire was a partner in my life, and there's something about Claire that was different to anyone else. She had the utmost faith and trust in me, regardless of the situation. If we made a decision, she'd back me 100%. There's one thing that many people may deem or view as having, or Claire having not experienced, and we discussed it this morning, and that is maybe having a family of our own. Ultimately, I believe that Claire to some extent did. Claire, Isabella and I, the 3 dogs and 4 fish. We were close, and I still remember the relationship that Isabella and Claire had. I often would come home and the two of them were sitting and playing and talking, and there were occasions where Claire would say to me, do you know about this and do you know about that? And I'd say, I'm not aware of that. And it just showed me what kind of individual Claire was, that Isabella would open up to her. In the beginning I thought this a bit strange that Isabella would be telling Claire things that she wouldn't tell me, but it just shows what kind of personality Claire had. I spent 2.5 years with Claire, and in these 2.5 years I learned a lot from Claire. I think Claire changed me. She made me a better person. She's left a big void in our lives, and we'll miss her very much. But ultimately, I think if Claire was looking down on us, she would want us to celebrate her life and not be in a place whereby we are sad. 3 weeks before Claire's passing, we were going through photos, and there was a video on her phone, and she sent me that video. I asked her to send it to me, and I think that this video depicts Claire perfectly. Thank you very much, and do come and play.
Cool. Good, thank you.
Throughout life, we experience loss, people leaving our lives. We lose friends, we lose parents. And nothing ever prepares you for the loss of a sibling, best friend, confidant, and role model. When you lose a loved one, it's as if they've taken a part of you with them. They haven't. What they've done is they've left a part of themselves with you, with each and every one of us. Anybody who knew our beautiful sister knows that she had this incredible superpower to turn any moments of darkness to light, to either bring the house down with laughter, drive you crazy with a few words, or baffle you with wisdom that will leave you reflecting on yourself for a while, or draw a tear in the most joyous occasion. She could immediately change the atmosphere or tone of a conversation, almost with a snap of her fingers. That was her, and she loved the challenge. She didn't let cancer get her down. Always her happy and cheery self, breaking a silent barrier down with a quick little chirp or a clever little comment. Never a dull moment with our beautiful sister. Clary's superpower is people. She took the time to listen attentively and always provide wisdom, the shoulder or guidance. She is and forever will be a role model to me, and I'm sure many of you. One thing she is truly passionate about is her friends and family. Clary would go to the ends of the world for anyone sitting in this room, without blinking an eye. We are cursed and blessed. Cursed to have lost such a chunk out of all of us. It feels unfair to carry on. But we are blessed to know that Clary, our beautiful sister and friend, is looking down on each and every one of us, no matter where we are. Her words and wisdom will be there with us, every choice we make and conversations we have. Her jokes and sarcasm will always be with us. We will laugh and we may cry, because those memories we have. Cherish them as we all cherish Clary. Clary will be there for every single race and every obstacle life throws, providing that extra breath, that last bit of strength, and that one incredible idea that nobody else had thought of. She will be there to help us through anything ahead. Let's remember her for who she was. I love you, Clary.
Just looking out across the auditorium, just bears testament to how many friends Claire had, but also particularly how many people actually couldn't make it today, some near, some far. And the outpouring of love shown to ourselves and the family has been truly, truly wonderful and actually overwhelming, just emotionally in terms of processing it all. So thank you. Thank you all for being there. I actually didn't know what to write when thinking to try and prepare to say something today. And just completely overwhelmed with emotion and the gravity of the surrealness of this situation. Having recently lost our mom and our sister, always courageous in her fight against cancer and hopeful that she would beat it. But you've heard, we all know what a strong character Claire was and what a fantastic person. But it is obviously a devastatingly sad day for all of us. And something that we won't recover from. But we do have peace that she's no longer in pain. And as Jacques correctly said, is that it's not the years in your life, but it's the life in your years. And Claire really, really did live an unbelievable life in those jam-packed 36 years. We were very blessed. So, yeah, I kind of all over the place, really. But I mean, Claire's strength, just by virtue of the fact, if cancer can be beaten by willpower and mental courage, well, Claire beat cancer. But quite rightly, unfortunately, her body just couldn't beat the cancer. So, what was interesting is that I've got a young family, and Claire obviously absolutely adored her two nieces and nephew. My kids, Jake, 5 years old, Harley, 2.5, and little Brooke, 8 months old. And she absolutely loved having them come over, but they really miss, I know Jake certainly misses his Auntie Claire already, asking me, telling me, I really miss Auntie Claire. Growing up, just really briefly, growing up with Claire, I mean, obviously those of you who know our family know what an unusually strong connection and bond as brothers and sisters that we had. And some people actually can't quite fathom how brothers and sisters can be so close, but we were. That's why in her passing, obviously it's going to leave a huge void. The lead up to today, and all the months gone by have all been a whirlwind, but once there's the calm in the weeks to come, it's going to be tough, I think, for myself and maybe for all of us as well. But yeah, growing up, you've seen some pictures that are rolling. I mean, Claire was always the life of the party, loved to party, best friends. Then when Cole came in the picture, it was actually quite funny. I remember Claire and I downstairs and looking at this little picture, and I'm trying to work out, is it a car? And it's obviously it's a scan. We're trying to work out, is somebody in a submarine or whatever? Oh, we're having a little baby brother. This is fantastic. And yeah, so, and then once, as the years went by, I mean, Cole and I kind of, and Claire and I kind of looked after Cole, so it's been an absolute blessing to have a lot more youth with him around all the time. Going through school, I mean, Claire had so many friends. She really did. Easy to talk to, loved to party. Out of school, that was just crazy times, as a lot of you all know. And that's why we really do want to make, I mean, today is a very sad day. It really, really is. But to be a celebration, because we do have so many fantastic memories of Claire. And I want you to, when we share together outside later, that we can all talk about those memories, and those memories will live on in all of us. I just wanted to read you two things that I came across, or that we came across. Just to give you an idea, I mean, Claire really had a way with words, and when it came to birthdays, Christmases, and getting a birthday card or Christmas card from her, it was more of an essay, an outpouring of love, which was fantastic, but I definitely don't have a way with words like she did. But this was Claire to our late mom. 1 year ago today, an angel took our beautiful mother from us too soon. At that time, I had my own notion of grief. I thought it was the sad time that followed the death of someone you loved. You had to push through it to get to the other side. But I'm learning there is no other side. There's no pushing through, but rather there is absorption, adjustment, acceptance. Grief is not something you complete, but rather something you endure. Grief is not a task to finish and then move on, but an element of yourself, an alteration of your being, a new way of seeing, a new definition of self. I said it when you left us and nothing has changed. You taught me everything I know, Mom, except how to live life without you. And I think, I certainly speak for myself, I feel the same. In going through some of Claire's things, this will be my parting note that I found, and that maybe it was from Claire to us. To you all, death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always use. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed, at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Pray, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be even the household word. It always was. Let it be spoken without effect, without the trace of a shadow on it. Life means all it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just round the corner. All is well. Just to all of you who made today happen, thank you very much. Thank you for the help, and thank you for being here. Please do celebrate with us and the family at this time. Thank you.
What an incredible tribute.